Hello, everyone. Dr. Vicky here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center. I wanted to do a card reading um, for St. Patrick's Day, or maybe more aptly for the day that the sun makes a conjunction to Neptune. This is the start of a synodic cycle between the sun and Neptune. The sun illuminates, and Neptune is our dreams. And so this is an opportunity to illuminate our dreams, or to be illuminated to our dreams, or to connect to our dreams in a very conscious way. And so I thought it might be nice to do a card reading for this time. We could call it a St. Patrick's Day reading. We could call it a healing of the soul reading. As many of you know who have been following me for a while, years, some of you, thank you. I did go to Ireland in March of 2023, and Ireland has been on my bucket list for a long time, and a long time since I met my first Irish boyfriend and I heard my first Irish song in my first Irish pub. I felt an opening of my own soul in a way that I hadn't experienced up to that point. And so I've always sort of kidded with myself that I have an Irish soul. And I did do a DNA thing, and I do have Irish and British Isles and probably Scotland and Wales, I would think. Um, so I have that blood in me, which at the time that I heard the music, I didn't know that I did. So um, I went with my best friend, um, Karen, who's Irish and kind of looks like my sister a little bit. We kind of look like sisters. And her daughter was getting married. This was her second try to get married in Ireland. The first time we were supposed to do it in 2020. And then the pandemic came, and that was the end of that. But they decided that they were going to still have the party. And so 3 years later, we all gathered in Ireland and celebrated my girlfriend's daughter's love with her husband. And by that time, they had two children. They still have two children. And it was a beautiful ceremony. And some of you may remember when I was doing videos from Ireland and sending pictures from Ireland. It was, I felt like I felt like I had come home in a way. It was a similar feeling to the way I felt when I first went up to Boston. And there's a similar vibe, because there are so many Irish in this area. But even just the coastline and although Ireland is a bit wilder, there was still like a sense of that, the ocean and making a living from the sea and the harshness sometimes of the weather. Um, so I felt connected. And so this is a reading for all of us in a message and an illumination of our dreams. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to use one deck, a special deck, the Druid Craft Oracle, which is very Irish in its art. Um, and I thought that this would be a good deck to do a reading for this time. So I think how I'm going to put this is Spirit, what do we need to be aware of at this time? Um, this time of we definitely, I think all of us have a sense that something big is happening, and that we're all going to have to um, do our best to move through this with as much grace as we can. But it is a critical time, and we do have power, probably more power than we've ever had or realized we had. And that power is the power of our consciousness and our willingness to um, sort of step aside in a way from our own ego pursuits to be conduits of light. Now, we don't have to do that all the time, every day. I mean, we have to do it now, but we don't not like once you're a conduit of light, you always have to be a conduit of light. But there comes a time, but of course, you always are a conduit of light. We all are. Just like how dirty is the lens. And I think that one of the values of what we've been experiencing over the last, probably since 2017, when we moved into a one vibration, a 10-1 vibration at that moment, and Donald Trump became started acting as president of the United States. The previous 10-1 vibration was 2008 when Barack Obama beat John McCain. And so both of those 10-1 vibrations, they were big shifts. And we have another one of those coming up in 2026, along with some pretty big shifts in our consciousness, really. So there's a lot still to come, but I thought that today would be a good day to see what Spirit wants us to be illuminated to. So let's start. I shuffled up, and we have the Ace of Cups, love. Spirit wants you to know that you are loved, that the love, this is the love of the divine for its creation. And it's a never-ending cup of love. It's also, this card can also be indicative of tears, sorrow, tears flowing, or a river flowing, the river that the Hopis speak of, the swift river that we need to go with the flow, lest we be torn asunder, hanging onto the shore. Sometimes you have to be willing to go with it. And this first card indicates that Spirit wants us to know that Spirit has our back and that we are loved. The challenge here is the Magician. The challenge could be people trying to manipulate and staunch the flow of that. Or the challenge can be how do you grasp that mighty power of love? It's a very powerful force, and it's a force that's not destructive. It's the opposite of the powerful destructive force in a way. Although sometimes love is not getting what you think you want, but getting what you need. So there's of course a challenge and a willingness to lose a little bit of control, to go into the flow, to not have to be, this is the direction I'm going, and this is what I'm doing, and this is what I want, and this is, at some point, sometimes that um, that's the kind of thing that would allow, I think, you to be injured in this situation because you're hanging on to your point of view a little bit too much. That's the challenge here. Underneath it, we have the Seven of Swords. This is I get the sense that in this card, actually, as I pull it out, is the Seven of Swords is often, clandestine things, spying, things like that. But I almost feel like this is an accounting of how we utilize our energy to destroy instead of create. I feel like we're at a time when, we're looking at um, what's the value of human life. We're so invested in creating swords to destroy each other that we don't really understand the gift that we have in life. And we need to remember that, but we also need to keep accounts, to know what we're doing, what it's costing, and what it means, and what it means to the people that it's happening to or has happened to. So this is a time of accounting for actions. In the recent past, we have the Ace of Pentacles, excuse me. this is the start of a new manifestation. I feel like there's a sense of growing understanding of the potential that we have, and that's something that has just begun recently to grow. Also, our connection and our understanding of our consciousness to our planet is also what I think has been also very important at this time. And I feel like the leprechauns or the fairy folk or all those people, all those races, you know, that were there before and are still there really, but in different dimensions. But you can feel them when you go to Ireland for sure. Um, there's this acknowledgement of that. You know, when I went to Ireland, I went to the metaphysical section and the spirituality section of the bookstore. I think we might have been in Galway at that time. And I noticed that there were goddess books on the top shelf and books about the Catholic Church on the bottom shelf. And I was surprised and happily surprised to see that the goddess was finally rising up the shelves in Ireland. And the energy there was very, you don't realize just how warlike the energy is in the country in America where I live. And I live in a blue area, so it's, you know, I can feel it, but it's not compared to what people, many of you who live in or blue dots in a red area, or even you might not even know you're in a bluer area than you are because you don't dare even talk about that stuff because it's just not safe. So that is, you know, that's tough. But I was happy to see that things in Ireland were changing in that direction. In the sky, we have the Eight of Pentacles. They're reminding us there's a lot of work ahead. We have to be willing to work, and not just willing to work, but do it over and over again. There has to be a persistence of effort here. We need a persistence of effort. We can't, I mean, even if, and I know this is sort of off topic, but even if Joe Biden does win the presidency, which I do think he will win, I think the Democrats, I think it's going to be another blue wave for sure. Um, that um, there's still a whole lot of work that has to happen. And I think things will be in place so they actually do happen. And hopefully the Democrats will do what they need to do and do it fast. Because 2026 is rolling around and we're talking about a whole new direction. Yeah, so the immediate future, we get the Temperance card. This is a card of healing. And so this is about healing the earth. It's about healing spirit. It's about the path of the mystic and walking the straight and narrow. It's not an easy path that we're walking. We're going through a spiritual initiation. We're being asked to be to integrate more of who we are. See, we're already that. We're already that. We're already there. We're already we just have to make sure the memo gets down into this density. And so we're already healed. We're already whatever it is that we don't think we have. We're already there. We just have to become conscious of it. And when we become conscious of it, we have to be willing to focus our intention and focus our energy on the prize. And the prize is, in the case of this card, is our own heart. This is on the path of the tree of life. This is the path of the mystic, path that connects the moon and the sun. And it's interesting that this comes up because, of course, we're moving into eclipse season. We have the eclipse on the 25th and then on the 8th of April, and it's a very powerful eclipse. The full moon is in Libra, the new moon is in Aries. It is the self and others. It is with the North Node in Aries, it's a North Node moon. We have Chiron there. We have an opportunity to heal the wound of masculinity, of force, of war, uh, of identity, you know, being attacked for who you are, for your identity. which isn't really who you are. What's on the inside is not what's on the outside. The outside is simply an experience we're having. And this is part of a light, an enlightenment, finding the light within the darkness and realizing the light in the darkness and expanding the light. So there is less darkness and there is more light and there is more love and there is more unity. How it's seen from the outside. King of Swords, decisions need to be made and they need to be made justly. We need to use good judgment at this time. Good judgment. We kind of step away a little bit from the roil of emotions and the roil of rage and anger and all of that, and just step back from it and look at it with a clearer eye. Our domestic situation. The Prince of Cups, this is a nice card. There is a offering of love. Remember, we started with the Ace of Cups, so we will have hints. We will, in our own home, we will feel a sense of peace. We'll feel a sense of love. We'll feel, I think, almost, I think there's going to be a healing of the family, which is so desperately needed at this time. Um, I think that, the whole mango phenomena, if I might say, um, one of the things that he's really good at is separating things, separating people, separating people from their money, separating people from their conscience, separating people from the ones they love, separating humans from humans, just on appearances alone. This is a man who, pooped in a gold toilet. So, what is it really? What is it really? And is it really gold? Or is it just spray paint, right? I mean, we don't know. Chances are it's spray paint of some sort. So we do have Um, I think this is, I just heard raise a glass to the ones you love, whether you can raise a glass and, together or to just, when you raise a glass, to think of them with love and affection, even if you can't talk to them, even if they don't agree with you, what does it matter? We're all here. Agreement or disagreement is simply a thing of the mind. Things of the heart are the things that unite us. The things of the mind are the things that separate us. And while we do need to have a clear mind and a clear eye, we also need to be willing to raise a glass to those we love and share a glass with those you love. Or if those you love can't drink anymore, laughter is a great way. Anything to lift the spirits, and a lot of times lifting the spirits artificially isn't the best way to go. But your family, so I'm not going to tell you what to do. The hopes and fears is the Four of Cups. There's a discontent. There's a sense of boredom. I think the sense of boredom comes from a sense of maybe not feeling connected to your passions, or not even knowing where your passions lie. What is what gifts are being offered, or perhaps what gifts do you need to look for, because this gift is there, but she's not looking for it. So this says it's hopes and fears. What do you fear? You fear loss, or you fear that it's never going to get any better. Look around, see what's around you, and reach for something that you would not normally see because you're so focused on your discontent. It's time to look around and see where you can find your contentment. The outcome, oops, I picked two cards. Let's go one at a time. We have the Two of Pentacles. This is a balance. This is about being balanced. It's about, this person only has two pentacles that they're juggling, not 1,000, and they're not knives. They're just this up and down, this appreciative, focusing on your resources, focusing on the life you want to create for yourself, while in the background we have the roiling sea and the storms. But when it comes down to it, those are in the background for this person. And so I think we need to focus on where our energy is best served. What is it going to, and how is it going to support us really, like physically, financially, support us. You may need to, find a little cove or a little shelter under a tree so that you can master your art of balance. That in the system I use, that's the 70, and then you add the 70, and it's a 7, so it's 70/770 over 7, and it is a card of bringing that 7 energy, which is an understanding, to a higher vibrational level because of the 0. So it kind of acts like a master number for the 7. And then we have the World card, which means that something is manifesting, and there's the end to a cycle and the beginning of a new cycle. And so something is definitely coming to an end, and something is being reborn. The World card is a card that's associated with Saturn, and Saturn's in Pisces right now, the same sign that we have this conjunction of the Sun and Neptune. And we will have, I believe, the next conjunction of the Sun and Neptune. Saturn is much closer. That's going to happen next year. So we'll be closer to our dreams. Right now, we're really sort of focusing in on what's right in front of us. We have to really sort of look at what's right in front of us. That's what these cards are telling me. So the other deck I wanted to use. Oh, let's see what's underneath it. Sorry, I must miss that. Okay, yeah. We have the end. The end. Something is coming to an utter end. This is the old ways, guys, the old ways. Then we have the Sun, full illumination. And then we have the 7 of Cups. And perhaps we'll finally see the illusion for what it is, an illusion. But this is a time of rebirth with the Sun right in the middle. And it's about moving in a whole new direction. We're going to be moving in a whole new direction. So this reading wasn't supposed to be about the election and the energy around the election. It's a it's supposed to be St. Patrick's Day, but it is coming from the healing of the heart and the healing of a nation and the healing of the humanity. And it's speaking of that energy and bringing that energy in a big way. And so in a way, I feel like this is a reading on the election, because after this election, it's not like we won't have our issues and our problems, but we will have the direction, and we will know that we're back on the right track, a bumpy track as it will be, but a track all the same. And I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be good for not just us, which is, but for the maybe the hope for democracy, or the rebirth in a way of democracy. All right. I also want to pull some Celtic Tree Oracle cards. Okay. This is from the Celtic Tree Oracle by Liz and Colin Murray. I've had these cards for years, and every now and again I pick them up, usually in seasonal readings like equinox and the like. I think maybe I'll use these for the equinox readings. Yeah, I think maybe I will. But let's see. I'm going to pick one and go from there, see if we need to pick any more. The card, a tree wants to speak. Ivy. Ivy. This is of course it's a vine, right? Ivy's a vine. And it's a spiraling vine. If you let ivy grow, sort of grow wild, it grows in spirals. It's pretty cool. It covers out everything else though, so it can be invasive. and it does stick to things with stickers. And so if you have it around your house, you shouldn't have it actually on your house because it can damage the actual structure, the paint and the stone, whatever it is that you have on your house, because it does cling and it's very hard to kill. It's very hard to, if you want to like pull it out of your ground, your landscape, it's very hard. So once it's established itself, it's really difficult to eradicate in a way, as just generally as an energy in the garden, and yet on those sort of hills where things are steep and like this, and you want to hold on to the soil, it's a really good plant for that. It's a really good sort of ground cover, and especially in areas that don't get a lot of sun, because it can still thrive in those areas. So there's this sense of sort of holding things together, and perhaps maybe blocking out some of the more delicate things. But there is a sense of holding on. Let's see what the book says. I don't know if it says anything like that in the book. Let's see, number 11. It's called Gort, The Spiral of Self, Search for Self, page 46. Okay, let's see what it says. So this is our message from the Fae. The ivy grows, spreads, and flourishes in many conditions: cultivated land and wasteland, in light and near darkness, in fertile soil or in rubble and stones. It will push its way through tiny cracks and crevices to reach the light, and it is strong and difficult to destroy. Well, I didn't know I was going to say that. Since ancient times, the vine and ivy have been regarded as enemies. If the vine, through intoxication, releases prophetic powers, the ivy, in contrast, puts you in touch with your own inner resources, giving you the ability to see through the eyes of the soul beyond the everyday world. The color associated with the ogum ivy is gorm, sky blue. Retain a vision of the clear blue sky to which you aspire in your mind's eye. Don't be gormless. If selected, this card represents the spiral of self and the search for self. The maze of labyrinth also linked to the ivy. There's a labyrinth on here. Let me show you that. You can see that. The lighting here is poor. I'm sorry. Two symbolizes the wandering of the soul, circling inward and outward, seeking nourishment and experience from the outside and from within itself, to achieve finally its goal of enlightenment. All right. It is about going within. It is about standing firm. It is about holding on. It is about dogged determination to live and survive. And I think that is, let's see if we pick another card. So that's the first one. I feel like maybe 3 cards would be appropriate. Hawthorn. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, hawthorn is another one of those plants. Let's see, number 6. What is it called? Oof. Cleansing and chastity protection. April. Okay, let's see what this says. According to the Ogham calendar, April is the month.
Craig, you coming down?
I'll be right down. Hawthorn leads, okay. In the Ogham calendar, April is the month of the female hawthorn, leads up to the fertile central oak month following from May Day or Beltane. It is the spring fire festival of fertility and renewed growth and strength. Celts marked the passing of time by the dark periods followed by the light, and then divided the year into a dark half and a light half. Hence, the new year on November 1st introduced the first dark winter half of the cycle. Then May Day started the light summer portion. Marriages were allowed to take place only during the light half of the year, though often preceded by trial marriages of a year and a day. Hawthorn is a small tree that grows with a dense, many-branched and twisted habit. Due to its impenetrable growth, it is mainly used as hedging, and the origin of her present name comes from the Anglo-Saxon hagthorn, meaning hedge thorn. Other common names are whitethorn, and many whitethorn originates from the contrast of her smooth gray bark and the powdery black bark of the blackthorn. The name may come from a time of her flowering when the blossom is used for garlands on houses and maypoles for May Day. She also has thorns for defense. It says the choice of the hawthorn represents a cleansing and chastity, bringing protection from the inner magical realms. In other words, a period of restraint, waiting to keep oneself to oneself. Concentrate on mental rather than physical activity as a prelude to the spiritual fertilization, growth, and activity. As a prelude to spiritual fertilization, growth, and harvesting that will follow, providing such preparation has been properly made as pure white flowers of the hawthorn turn glowing red haws in the autumn. So the hawthorn is another very dense, difficult to penetrate um, um, energy, but protective in that. And so hold fast to those which you love. One more card. My husband's calling me for dinner, so this has to be quick. Plus, I'm hungry. Read. This is interesting. Read. That's all. Now that's a whole different sort of energy, and yet read can be very dense as well. So let's see what it says about read. Nagel, or however you say this. Direct action, page 48. Thin and slender is the reed. He stands in clumps at the edge of the river. Between his feet hides the swift pike, awaiting an unsuspecting minnow to come his way. In his thinness, the reed resembles arrows that fly, silver-tipped up into the unknown air to land at the very source that one has searched for all these years. Firing arrows off into the unknown is an expression of a desire to search out basic truths. If you loose off without direction, the place of landing will be random. If the firing is carried out, the correct conviction, the determination and sense of purpose, then the act becomes secondary, and the sense of purpose, then the act becomes secondary to the event that comes both before and after the moment. In the same way, with the read, you are able to find direction and give meaning and purpose to your journey. That started at the beginning of the year in November, according to the old calendar. Once the journey has been entered upon, then surprise encounters and upsets are only to be expected. The skills to overcome these short-lived troubles are important and essential in making the journey in the first place. So if this does indicate the election, which I wouldn't be surprised that the faithful are talking about Joe Biden, because he is Irish. And he is the second Irish Catholic president that we've had in America. And both times things have gotten a lot better for people. So yeah, I think that it's really about, hunkering down and staying, staying strong, at the same time, like holding your space, and at the same time shooting those intentions out into the world. And if you follow your heart, you're sure to hit something that you know is for the best. All right, guys, have yourself a wonderful St. Patty's Day. If you celebrate, have a wonderful Sun and Neptune day, and have a wonderful, wonderful day illuminating the dreams. Take care, everyone. Namaste. Thank you to all my new subscribers. Thank you to my old subscribers. Thank you, everybody, for all your support over all these years. It's greatly appreciated. Namaste.